If you're curious about the fit, sainty.ca. SAINTT.ca. Okay, let's get back to business. Drake is the stimulus package of hip hop. Drake is the stimulus package of urban music. Okay? Now here's this thing about like this whole genre of urban music, right? When it comes to hip hop, it's very hard for individuals to give homage and give the flowers what the flowers is due. You know what I mean? And what I mean by that is that Drake single-handedly has kept hip hop at the peak of its level. I'm talking about hip hop has surpassed rock and country. And Drake has been at the forefront of that. And because of that, everybody else that wants to get into the hip hop realm, you got to do two things. You either got to get a cosign from Drake, right? Or you're going to beef with Drake. One of the two. You need a cosign or you got to diss him. It's better to get a cosign. That's what I say, right? Because the thing about it is, it's like a lot of times people, they don't want to give Drake the recognition he deserves. You know what I mean? Outside of the realm of hip hop, right? Drake single-handedly has brought in over $5 billion, and that's in the Toronto market. I'm talking about you put Canada on a global scale, Toronto to be specific, on a global scale when it came to travel and tourism. 2018, the whole of Toronto made about $18 billion in totality when it comes to travel and tourism. And 5 of that billion was equated to Drake. Drake talking about Toronto, Drake associating himself with the Raptors, Drake always bigging up Toronto. And I'm not saying this to say that there's a whole bunch of individuals that came before Drake that paved that landmark for Drake. You know what I mean? I'm talking about people like Cardi, people like Choclair, people like Infinite, Jellystone, Socrates, Chaos, Mishimi, Get a Concept, Born to Roam. I could keep on going and going and going when it comes to individuals that paved that alleyway for Drake. But Drake took that alley-oop and kicked down the door for the rest of the country. Not only for the country, for the entire realm of hip-hop. And what I mean by that is that this is how important Drake is to the economy of hip-hop, okay? We're gonna go what Drake means to the city of Toronto and Canada, right? Because of Drake's influence, right? Because of so many eyes that are targeted at Drake and what Drake is doing in Canada, Canadians are at the forefront of music, period. I'm talking about every single genre on the face of this planet, you got a Canadian on top. And if you allow me to sauce, I'm a sauce. You won't let me sauce. Okay. Thank you. When we talk about hip hop, right? I don't care what anybody says. You got Kendrick, you got all these individuals, you got 50, you got Jay-Z, you got... At the end of the day, nobody has a global impact that supersedes what Drake has done for the game of hip-hop, okay? So when it comes to hip-hop, Drake is the #1 artist in hip-hop, and he's Canadian. Once again, the whole concept I'm trying to paint right now is Canadians are #1 when it comes to every single genre of music, okay? And that is equated to Drake because Drake is waving that Canadian flag like nothing. You know what I mean? Hip-hop, #1 artist on the planet, Drake. Now, let's go to country. Nobody on the planet right now has a bigger catalog than Shania Twain. She Canadian too, right? Let's go to pop. Nobody on the planet has a bigger catalog when it comes to pop that's alive than Justin Bieber. You could argue Taylor Swift, but Taylor Swift is country. Taylor Swift is pop, so it's a crossover. But we're talking about strictly pop. Nobody's bigger than Justin Bieber. Canadian. Okay? Let's go with The Weeknd. Is our artist bigger than The Weeknd? Weeknd is breaking Michael Jackson records right now. Just sold his catalog for $1 billion. I think that's the first person, the only person that could probably super exceed that catalog if they had to sell it is Drake. Can't. You see what you see when the sauce is going to, right? Okay. Now, on top of that when it comes to versatility, you can't argue. When it comes to versatility, you cannot argue that Tory Lanez is not at that peak. No one could out versatile Tory Lanez. Nobody could do that. It's not happening. Okay? You know, you may be a better rapper, but you're not gonna be a better singer combined. You may be a better singer, you're not gonna be a better rapper. You may be a better singer and rapper, but you cannot do dancehall reggae like Tory Lanez. It's not happening, okay? You cannot go back and do old school like concept albums, you know, music from the 80s and the 70s and the 90s. You can't do that, okay? And definitely nobody's gonna put all those genres into one song and do it better than Tory Lanez. Name me one of them, okay? The closest one is probably maybe Chris Brown that could rap a little bit, do R&B, but that's about it. Maybe a little bit of couple words and dancehall, but that's about it. I'm talking about be authentic. I'm talking about do hip hop and sound authentic. I'm talking about doing R&B and sound authentic. I'm talking about doing dancehall reggae and sound authentic, okay? It's not gonna happen. Tory Lanez is the only person that could do that. He's so versatile, he could be in jail right now and put out an album, and the album still goes #1, and he's locked up. Canadians. And all of that is because Drake putting a spotlight on Canadians. Canadians were always at the forefront. I'll even name off honorable mentions like Nelly Furtado. You know what I mean? She went diamond with Timbaland. You know what I mean? Now you got Nickelback. Like I could keep on going. Bryan Adams, come on, man. I could keep on going and going and going and going. Celine Dion. Come on, man. What are we talking about here? Drake has put the spotlight on Canada. And Canadians have become the #1 artist in practically every single genre. Definitely top 2 or 3 because of Drake. So that's why Drake gets so much hate, man. Everybody wanted Kendrick to destroy Drake. And for that slight little timeline where when Universal got involved and they propelled Kendrick into the spotlight, right? Everybody thought, okay, finally Drake has been kicked off his mantle. And for that timeline, when Kendrick was on top, nobody else in hip-hop was eating. I'm talking about when Drake's on top, everybody's eating. Everybody's eating. When Kendrick's on top, hip-hop, nobody cares about hip-hop. Hip-hop, it's even the timeline when Kendrick was doing his thing. It was the first time hip-hop didn't have a #1 track in the top 100. Kendrick does not understand the crown that Drake has, you know what I mean? He does not understand what it evolves. See, this is not being the best in your country. This is about carrying the torch of hip hop. You know what I mean? It's kind of heavy. And this is what happens. Kendrick realized he couldn't do it. And where is he right now? He disappeared. He disappeared. Nowhere to be seen. You know? Where is he? Where's Kendrick? He had the hottest song on the planet, and then he disappears. And then nobody's gonna see Kendrick for the next 2-3 years until he wants to drop a track. And the only way he could drop that track is what I said at the beginning. You gotta diss Drake. Because if you don't diss Drake, nobody cares about your album. A$AP Rocky. Ain't nobody has ever talked about A$AP Rocky songs. Nobody. The only time they talk about it is because he's dissing Drake. You gotta call Drake's name. You either have to collab with Drake or diss him, or else you're irrelevant in the realm of hip-hop. You see what I'm saying? Every single one of these artists that has dissed Drake, they're on tape right now. You could go back 3, 4, 5, 10 years, and each one of them has said, you know what? When nobody was messing with me, Drake was the only one that messed with me for free. He didn't even charge me nothing. Out of the strength of love. That's it.
I forever owe Drake. First conversation, he's saying he's gonna take me on tour, and I'm like, wow, man, I don't know, man, whatever. When I met him, everything, like, before the tour, he came to come see me. He brought me out to Fashion Week. You know, fashion is my, like, Versace store. He was DJing, did an event there. He brought me on stage, showed me love. And this is when I was a nobody, you know? And, yo, man, Drizzy, man, he's good people, man. The only person that put on for me when I ain't have nobody was Drake. I'm talking about Drake was the first person to put on, like, before anybody. He didn't want to sign me. Yeah. He didn't want to. It was like, yo, that's raw talent, yo. Like, you got to shine, yo. I'm going to see to it.
But yet, when they get on top, the first thing they want to do is diss the hand that fed them. Is bite the hand that fed them. Drake is about to get respect. And in the realm of hip-hop, this is what we do. You know what I mean? We don't give individuals what they're due until they die. You know what I mean? Pop wasn't the greatest thing on the planet until he died.